Aloha kākou, o Daniel Ikaika Ito ko ui noa piha, no hilo mai au, a ka noho au ma kaimuki me ka uvahine a me na keiki. My full name is Daniel Ikaika Ito. I'm from Hilo, but I live in Kaimuki with my wife and kids. And as Ilihia said, I stand between you and a pauhana right now. That is a tremendous task, in addition to having the kuleana of visitor education post-arrival marketing for Kilohana Collective by Council for Native Hawaiian Advancement. I know you were probably in the panel I was in yesterday, but I'll just recap real quick on what VPAM, Visitor Education Post-Arrival Marketing is, because it's a mouthful and there's a lot of gray area between it. But basically, the line in the sand is once the malihini decides to come over to Hawaii and they land in one of our airports or come upon one of our shores, then they become the kuleana, or the responsibility of myself and Kilohana Collective to do the messaging while they're here. And so some of that messaging can look in the following ways. One of the ways that we track all the impressions and the messaging is through this thermometer. I won't bore you with the stats. I applaud all of the GMTs. You came with great data, so I'm not going to bore you with any stats or data, but maybe I can just entertain you a little bit right now. One of the ways I'd like to try to entertain you is a new digital initiative that we've worked on this year called Travel 808. It is a video series that will be uploaded to the Knowledge Bank, and it features the lovely senior brand manager, Ivalani Kuali'i Kaho'ohanohano, as well as this episode features Kamakapili, who is a Native Hawaiian news anchor for KHON. So I'll show you this episode. Oh.
Possibly one of the most iconic landmarks in all of Hawaii is Diamond Head. Traditionally known as Le'ahi or Laiahi, both meaning the brow of the tuna, this crater got its more modern name back in the 19th century when British sailors thought that they seen diamonds glistening on its slopes. Didn't have any value.
Its true value is more than just that. Taking care, or malama aina, allows us and future generations to enjoy Le'ahi from Mauka to Makai. Today, Le'ahi is known for its surfing, hiking, and one of Hawaii's best farmers markets. Come with us as we malama and holo holo around Le'ahi.
Aloha and welcome to Kuilei Cliffs.
What is Kuilei Cliffs?
Kuilei Cliffs is a nonprofit that we started about 3 years ago. 5 years back, we started just as volunteers, friends that were surfing in the area, to come and clean up the area, landscape the area. It was overgrown, it wasn't maintained, so that was the intent. And our mission basically was to open up the space and let both the tourists and the local people enjoy it.
Why is it important for, when visitors come, that they give back alongside our kama'aina?
When they give back to something like this, instead of being on a bus and driving around the island, they can get out of the bus, they can get their hands dirty, they can engage with the local people, they can find out what's important to the local people.
How do you think your efforts here is then contributing a benefit to the ocean?
As we are making this park site better, I think people see that it is being taken care of. So when they walk down the hill with their rubbish, they're bringing their rubbish back up. We do this on a Saturday basis for a couple of hours, and that's really not enough, but we're moving in the right direction. But if we don't do it, who will?
Next, we're checking out the spectacular views Le'ahi has to offer by doing a hike.
We are now inside the Diamond Head State Monument where the hiking trailhead begins.
If you're visiting, be sure to make a reservation ahead of time, and if you're kama'aina, it's free with your state ID.
We all love the word free, but don't forget your bottled water because it's super duper hot, and your cell phone or your camera because there are so much things to take pictures of.
And don't forget to apply mineral safe sunscreen.
I already did. Let's go. The cool thing about this is that you're not really hiking. You're kind of on a footpath the whole way. So, but that doesn't mean that you don't bring your shoes.
Woohoo, we're almost at the top.
Woohoo, look at the staircase.
Wow, it is so beautiful up here.
It's kind of like a breathtaking view, but I do have to say, try to imagine all of this, what we see today, but replace it with wetlands. Imagine taro patches all over the place, fish ponds all over the place, from here all the way up to Manoa. I think that's, to remember what it once was, that's also a beauty within itself.
No wonder the saying, Nani le'ahi he maka no kahiki. Beautiful le'ahi, always observed by the malihini.
I love that no'iau, olelo no'iau are wise sayings. You know, it is also a wise saying. Let's get some food because I'm getting hungry.
But you know. Every Saturday morning, the parking lot of the Kapi'olani Community College hosts dozens of vendors and farmers who share the local flavors of Hawaii with malihini and kama'aina alike.
This is where you can get local produce, you can get plants, you can get art and food that are found nowhere else in the world, but right here.
Welcome to Big Island Abalone. Big Island Abalone is based on corner in Big Island, and we are farming abalone there on land, pumping up the deep sea water. Our abalone is originally from Japan, northern part, and the species name is Ezo abalone. Abalone is very nutritious, and it's different texture from oyster or mussels, so more chewy.
Can we try some?
Yes, please.
Oh,
Yeah.
so what do we have here?
This is a small size abalone, and this is most popular flavor, garlic butter taste, and this is ginger sauce.
This looks delicious. Cheering.
And this texture, like you said, is very ono.
Welcome to Ulumana here at KCC Farmers Market on Saturday morning.
What is ulumana?
Ulumana is we're a local food manufacturer that makes delicious snacks out of locally grown produce like ulu and cassava as well. So our first item was the ulu hummus, and we also make the ulu chips as well. Ulu is a locally grown crop. It's also called breadfruit. The Polynesians brought it here about 700 years ago when they found Hawaii and started planting it for their families.
Do you mind if we try a little bit?
Absolutely, yeah, go ahead. So,
After you.
yeah, you can try some here. We have some tasters. You just lift the lid. We have turmeric's our best seller. It's tastes just like normal hummus, but again, made out of locally grown breadfruit. We also have jalapeno and tomato.
Yes, I love the color.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Yeah, cheers. So yeah, it tastes just like regular hummus, huh? Yeah.
That's actually really good.
Chili too, yeah.
What's happening here at Le'ahi is just one example of Malama'aina.
And Hawaii is more than a destination. It is home to us kama'aina. And we share that kulana with our malihini to give back to community and the aina itself, that which makes up the beauty of Hawaii. Aloha.
Aloha.
Seriously, Kamaka really likes cheering all of his food. I think that was Kalani's favorite part of all of the Travel 808 episodes, is after they ate anything, he proceeds to cheers his food, and we're working through that right now. I just realized why I'm up on stage. At first, you could have had the chief administrator of Kilohana, Tyler Kepa Gomes, who's fabulous at things like this presenting. But I realized that I am the only member of Kilohana that is Native Hawaiian, Japanese, Chinese, and Korean. So I think there was a natural segue by me being up here. And I really liked what HT Korea said in their presentations as far as how they're trying to leverage the festivals and events. And that's something else that we're trying to do strategically with Kilohana and VPAM is for the first time ever, there's one entity, which is Kilohana Collective, that is administering all of the partnerships, the funding partnerships on behalf of HTA. And so what we're doing is we are trying to include a lot of these events and festivals that are partners of HTA through the Umeke program into our digital advertising. So these are ads that you'll get served on social media, search engines, as well as you'll see some of them pop up on the baggage claims when you're waiting for your bags. I constantly see them on Southwest Airlines baggage claims. No one said Southwest this whole convention or conference, so I felt obligated to say Southwest Airlines. Some of the other things that we worked on is in response to the Maui recovery were these itineraries. This map that you see didn't make it to the website, so I just wanted somebody to see it other than just us internally. But basically, we curated some itineraries on Maui, and instead of approaching Maui normally, as you'll see in a lot of the towns, or what was done previously was through the ahupua'a, we defined them by mokus, and so you'll see these itineraries up on trip ideas on gohawaii.com. Here are examples of other digital display ads that we do on behalf of HTA. This stuff isn't as entertaining as the next thing. So these are just example of native ads. One thing though that I'm really excited to share, that this was done outside of our destination stewardship contract through a GIA grant, is called Mindful Malihini, and it's a podcast that we produced in-house with our resources and our filmmakers with Council for Native Hawaiian Advancement, and it's perfectly timed, 12 minutes, and I think I got 13 more, so we can watch the whole episode. This is the first time the public is seeing this.
Hawaii is renowned for its stunning landscapes, but beyond its natural beauty lies a vibrant cultural mosaic that shapes the way people live, interact, and connect with the world around them. Central to this tapestry are the cultural norms that guide social interactions, values, and daily practices. Aloha my listeners, and welcome to Mindful Malihini Podcast, a series where we share a native perspective on how to optimize your time as a malihini or visitor in our home Hawaii. I'm your host, Tyler Iokepa Gomes, and we have a very special guest joining us today to explore how to honor Hawaii's cultural norms, as well as give us an introduction to some of Hawaii's traditional cuisine. Perhaps there is no one better in modern society to comment on cultural norms and illuminate that than a comedian, and we are so lucky to have Passion Santos, the terribly and terrifically funny local entertainer, here with us today to talk about what you can expect as a visitor to Hawaii. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you. I trained my whole life for this.
What does that entail? Just
Getting up, brushing my teeth, and then being super observant of everything and everyone.
Yeah.
And then making fun out of all of it.
So our visitors should start by brushing their teeth. That's probably good.
Definitely. Please.
Great. Well, I think I want to talk a little bit about, what it's like being on the island, especially if you haven't been here. I'm so bad with directions. And so one thing that we use here is geographic landmarks.
Right.
Those are words like Mauka and Makai. Do you want to tell our visitors a little bit about what that means and how they can use that to orient themselves?
Well, Mauka, mountains, and Makai, the ocean side. And actually growing up, we had things that were named, like if we had two churches, for instance, it would be the Mauka Church and the Makai Church, and you know which one to go to depending on what it was called. Even if you're like, oh, my house is Mauka of the neighbor's house. There's these two red houses and mine is the Mauka one, so mine is gonna be the one that's closer to the mountains. And also, we don't really judge it by like distance.
Tell me about that. What do we judge it on?
We judge it on how long it's gonna take to get there. What is the distance from here to Makakilo? And we would normally be like, 5 minutes. But what if we're short on gas?
Then
And we gotta go
it's
fill up
12
gas.
minutes.
Like, I need to know the mileage actually, because I got 2 miles left in my gas tank.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think we do everything in time?
Because gas is expensive. I don't know, I feel like we're kind of, we don't wanna travel too far anywhere.
And far is not really.
I live Kaka'ako right now. My family is all from Hauula, Laie, and I will pack a bag like I'm gonna stay for the weekend, even if I'm going for the day, because it is far to me. 45 minutes, far.
It's not very far, but driving on Tahula does feel like an 8-hour island trip sometimes.
Yeah, pack for sure. Just in case, you never know.
So say we're going out to Hula, we're gonna go to your family's house, you're taking some new friends that aren't from here. What's the first thing they should do when they get to your family's house before they go inside?
Brush the teeth.
Check. And then what next?
We're definitely taking off our slippers.
Yes.
And if not, then you will get big scoldings. Normally you would hear my grandma be like, "Hamaya kamaat," which is take off your slippers. You might want to hide it.
Hide what?
Your slippers.
What?
It depends. Like if it's olukais, you can hide it.
And why do you hide your slippers?
Somebody might borrow them forever. They swap them though. At least you'll go home with somebody else's slippers.
Hopefully they're the same size as you or close to it.
You never know.
Your mom and dad, we might refer to them as auntie and uncle. What is that? What is all that? How do you use it? Who do you call auntie or uncle? Who do you not call auntie or uncle?
Not me.
You are not an auntie.
No.
Not to me,
Well,
'cause
okay.
same age.
Listen, depends on how old you are. If you are within a 10-year gap, don't you dare call me. Anything younger, that's fine. I'll be your favorite auntie. Auntie and uncle is a total respect thing. And I feel like if you're lucky enough to be in that circle of, I don't know, respect, love, then you are lucky enough to call them auntie and uncle,
Even if you're not related to them.
even if you're not related to them.
Talk a little bit about not showing up empty-handed. That's something that I think is ingrained in us, and we like to take things with us when we go to other people's homes, their spaces. What's your favorite thing to show up at a house with?
Really, it's anything. You can bring anything to somebody's house, but I think knowing your audience is important because you wouldn't want to bring like a bottle of wine to somebody that doesn't drink.
Right, somebody's first birthday luau, like bottle of wine's a weird gift.
Yeah, baby, gonna be hot, you know.
But that highlights a really good point in that, it's about thoughtfulness, it's about respect and knowing that you're going into a place that belongs to somebody else and taking something that you've thought of. There's an intentionality there. Speaking of food, because that's sort of where this is going, there's a lot of food in Hawaii. And you and I know there's a difference between something called Hawaiian food and then everything else. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Musubi is not Hawaiian food. It's a local food. And there's a difference between local foods and like traditional cultural Hawaiian foods. But also, we're very blended now, and it's hard to know what is deeply rooted and what isn't. And I think that laulau even, you think like laulau is Hawaiian, but then there's elements to it that might have been introduced later on. And so like, at what time period are we talking about? I don't know.
So for our audience at home, laulau is a traditional indigenous native Hawaiian dish that uses the leaves of the taro plant, or lu'o, and it's wrapped around usually pork, and it's salted, and then it is steamed, essentially. There is now butterfish in it, and that's probably not a traditional ingredient, but it's become synonymous with what's in your laulau. I'd be a little disappointed if my laulau didn't have butterfish inside. But that's right, I think about lomi salmon all the time. It's one of my favorite things. It's not in any way, shape, or form
That too, yes.
a traditional native Hawaiian food, but when someone says Hawaiian food plate, you're expecting to see tomato and salmon on your, normally it's served on like a cafeteria style paper plate
Yep.
with compartments for all your items. But the real art is what items you let the server ladies put in your plate. You gotta rotate it a little bit so that you pick and choose. What is your ideal setup on your cafeteria tray?
Are you picky with things touching each other?
No.
Yeah, me too. Okay. So if there's opihi, I definitely want that. Lomi salmon is okay in the same like box.
Because seafood.
Square, yes, seafood, or poke next to it.
So on these plates, there's one large. That's normally the one for the entree. But like sometimes if I have a choice, I will tell them to just fill it up with poi, because sometimes it only comes in like a small
Okay, we
little
just
cup.
had to show
So I
poi
always
right
go to
there.
auntie.
And then I think we
And
can
then
move
you
on
put-
now. Sorry to get in the way of everybody's Kilohana. But that's just something that we wanted to share. That's the first of 8 episodes. Additionally, I forgot to mention that we're developing more episodes of Travel 808. So 4 of them are PAL and will be uploaded to Knowledge Bank, as well as shorter edits. Our production company likes to say that they're snackable, which actually means that they're designed for social or fast consumption. Just wanted to say a mahalo nui loa.